This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Double upload day on the channel because we got breaking news in the NFL this afternoon. Recently acquired edge rusher Haason Reddick, formerly of the Philadelphia Eagles, now of the New York Jets, has requested a trade. You've heard that correctly. You've read it correctly. He's requested another trade, his second trade request of the 2024 offseason. The New York Jets sent a conditional 2026 third round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for Haason Reddick. Like Schefter said, showed up for his physical, spoke highly of the organization. You trade for a star edge rusher with who's looking for a new deal. The reason it didn't work out in Philadelphia was that he was looking for said new deal, and you trade for the guy, and there's no new deal on the table as we sit here a couple weeks in the training camp, a couple weeks in the preseason. We are now 3 weeks into a holdout of Haason Reddick. He wants another trade. He wants out of the organization. So they either have to put up and pay up for his services or trade him to another team. And my question for you, Washington Commanders Nation, are you interested in 29-year-old edge rusher Haason Reddick? That with no clear and proven full-time edge rusher on the roster, proven and productive, should this be something Adam Peters and the Commanders consider? Mind you, this guy has been hyper productive his last couple years. We know that Haason Reddick was playing out of position for the first couple years of his career. The first three were duds, but ever since 2020, 12 and a half sacks, 11 sacks, 16 sacks, 11 sacks. He was a runner-up for the Defensive Player of the Year back in 2022. This is currently one of the premier pass rushers in this league. So with a base salary of $14.5 million this year, he was not trying to show up for that amount. His holdout is up to 3 weeks. The New York Jets and holdouts, it's something they should be used to. Darrelle Revis did the same thing. I believe he had like a 35-day holdout. Haason Reddick's on week 3, day 21 of his holdout, and the Jets placed him on the reserve do not report list back on July 25th, and they said it was going to be resolved soon. Robert Saleh, when asked about it, said he's not surprised by anything in the league anymore. He's been absent the entire offseason from the Jets because $14.25 million is not going to cut it for a guy who's been uber productive over the last 4 seasons. Entering his, he's not 30 years old yet. He's entering his 30-year-old season. He was seeking a contract. Philadelphia said, go ahead and find you a trade partner, my boy, because the way we're divvying up contracts right now, we can't do it. He then forfeited a $250,000 workout bonus for not attending the Jets offseason workouts. And by missing the first couple weeks of camp, he's now on record paying $700,000 and counting as the days increase in mandatory fines from the New York Jets. So that is the current situation right now. 4 straight double-digit sack seasons, 27 over the last 2 years. The Jets blew it with Bryce Huff. They're now blowing it with Haason Reddick. And for the second year in a row, it looks like the Jets have traded for a superstar that is not going to play for them because Rodgers played 1 series last year. We saw how that ended. Haason Reddick hasn't even took the practice field. He hasn't even put a practice jersey on for the Jets yet, and the saga may already be over for the New York Jets. So Washington Commanders Nation, I am asking you, are you interested in Haason Reddick, and should our team be interested? We've saw how good he was over the last couple years in Philadelphia. Washington went out and signed 3 edge rushers, and we drafted one. We're paying Dorrance Armstrong $45 million over 3 years, so $15 million per. Dorrance Armstrong is making more money this year than Haason Reddick. So to put that in proper context and perspective, he's making $1 million more than a guy who's had double-digit sacks the last 4 years, despite the fact that Dorrance Armstrong has never seen full-time production or double-digit sack season yet. ... ellipses. Dorrance Armstrong, $15 million per. Cleveland Farrell, 1-year deal, a little bit under $3 million. Dante Fowler, 1 year, a little bit over $3 million. So between the three edge rushers we signed this offseason, $20 million base salary between those three. Then we got KJ Henry still on the roster, making mid-round rookie money, no money at all. We got Jean Baptiste, who we took in the 7th round, making pennies. Jamin Davis, who's experimenting as an edge rusher on this team. Are you interested in adding a guy as productive, as experienced and proven as Haason Reddick to this defense? And I think the easy answer is we should all be interested, depending on the price of the trade. But he was just traded for a freaking 2026, not even next year, a 2026 3rd-round pick to the Jets. I can't imagine the trade value dramatically increases. I think the Jets might have lost all their leverage with this guy, and their only two options left are trade him or pay him. So if they were to shop him around the league, I don't imagine the price would be too crazy. Yes, you need to give him a contract if you're bringing him in, but Haason Reddick is definitely worth the price of admission for a long-term deal. I don't think Adam Peters and company are going to bring in 29-year-old Haason Reddick, but boy, would that be a dramatic shift to the defense. We go from having a bunch of decent floor edge rushers to having a really good pass rushing unit with Dorrance Armstrong on one side, Haason Reddick on the other, and with Cleveland Farrell and Dante Fowler Jr. as pass rushing, rotational pass rush extraordinaires. That would be a phenomenal room, guys. That would be a very rounded out room that has more of a ceiling to it. I just don't think Adam Peters and them are ready to make that type of thing yet, because I think if we're ready to make deals like this, I think they would have went out and got Ayuk, because he's very available and wants to be here. If they were ready to hand out long-term contracts for guys that they acquire via trade, I think we've already would have seen one, but this is an edge rusher. This is a premier position in this league. I would say the 3rd most important position in football. It goes quarterback, left tackle, pass rusher. Or you could honestly 2A and 2B edge rusher and left tackle. We traded both of our guys out of here last year, Montez Sweat and Chase Young, and we've kind of put a Band-Aid on the edge rushing situation. Dorrance Armstrong is the only real potential high ceiling guy we have coming off the edge, but Dante Fowler's played in the system. Dorrance Armstrong's played in the system. We got guys who know the system left and right. I think it would make sense for Washington to check in on the situation. If we don't aggressively pursue guys via trade, I'll at least take solace in knowing Washington is actively monitoring these type of situations. Because if I'm the New York Jets, if I'm actually going to go through with trading Haason Reddick, then I want to send him out of conference. I don't want any part of sending him to a rival and to a team that may be in our way, because we're trying to contend for a Super Bowl title immediately with 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers. So NFC teams would be the first teams on my line. What are you looking for in return? We have depth guys. I mean, they got Michael Clemens. They got Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson. They got young talent on the edge, but they traded for this guy to be an instant impact contributor. And they have not seen one practice. He has not broken a sweat. He has not lifted a single weight in the New York Jets building since he's been traded for. And this has no signs of coming to a conclusion in contract talks. So what's your offer you're putting on the table for Haason Reddick if you were Adam Peters and the Washington Commanders? And I say, since they're getting 2026 3rd-round picks, I'd offer them something in 2025. I'd offer them a 2025 4th-round pick and maybe a end-of-the-rotation guy on our roster. I'm offering them a 4th. Why am I going to offer them something crazy? You'll get a conditional 2025 4th-round pick. You know what I did? I jumped the year that you traded to Philadelphia. Instead of 26, you get a 25. Conditional fourth round that can turn into a third rounder based on how many games and what his production is in Washington. Best offer I'm putting on the table, conditional fourth round pick and a player. No one of real value. You just want to wipe your hands with the situation. Take a draft pick next year, send him on his way, send him packing, stop the headache, keep it moving, handshake, call it a day. What do you think? Let me know in the comments if you are interested in Washington pursuing edge rusher Haason Reddick. Don't put smut on Haason Reddick's name for wanting to be treated what he's worth. Last 4 years, double-digit sacks. Do I have to repeat it? His last 4 years look like this: 11 sacks, 16 sacks, 11 sacks, 12 and a half sacks. This is a baller. This is a pass rush specialist. This is a under 30-year-old player for another month or so. And you don't have to ridiculously pay a premium in draft compensation. Does he want a contract around 29, 30 million a year, which would put him near the Myles Garrett range? Absolutely, but that comes with the territory in today's league. You don't necessarily have to be the best, second best, or third best at your position. If you are productive, if you've done your part, when it's time to re-up, it's time to pay the piper. That's the way it goes. When it's your time, you get paid, point blank, period. I think Washington should monitor the situation, and if he truly becomes available, we should at least see what they're talking about. Let me know what says you in the comments. Haason Reddick to DC? We'll see. I think the Jets may have to cave and pay him because they look crazy right now. Trading for a guy and then a guy requesting a trade the same offseason, that's not a good look for your organization, Joe Douglas. So you got some questions you need to answer. Need to go holler at my boy Richie over at Jets Media to see what he thinks about this. But that is my take on if Washington should be interested in Haason Reddick. My answer is yes, we should be interested, but my head says I don't think we make a trade for Haason Reddick. I'm not even sure we put out an offer for him, but very feasible if we decided to do so. Dorrance Armstrong on a 3-year, $45 million deal, $15 million per. Cleveland Farrell, 1 year, under $3 million. Dante Fowler, 1 year, just over $3 million. That's $20 million in between three players. You're going to pay more than that to secure on an annually basis Haason Reddick, but it makes sense because Haason Reddick is a really good pass rusher. Any guy that's been close to winning Defensive Player of the Year is someone you definitely want to consider and have a conversation about within your front office, but we shall see. That's all I got for right now. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Commander Rio, out.
Michael Vick here at BetUS.com. Get it all. Huge bonuses, great odds, a race book, live in-game betting, and a casino. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.